What? Is even up? It's your boy Crabman. A little blurry, but I'll fix that. And my blurry boy Heckenstein. Here in this very kind of lightning. There we go. Welcome to this much sharper Hypnotic Hootout. How? Oh, dare I even ask how you're doing?
Let me tell the story like David Lynch would.
Oh.
So imagine glass shards on the floor. The camera zooms out. 4 days earlier. Oh man! So my week. I guess last week we didn't really talk about what happened with my. I would love to say like crazy B-word flatmate, but I know there's a lot of sexist history hinging on these combination of words. Last time I said that I used that phrasing. I didn't say it to Mbali. I used that phrasing. She said that not all women are like that. That was a little bit funny. And of course, I know that. And I didn't even think I'd say something that would imply that I think that. Because gender has nothing to do with that. Like most women are not like that. And most crazy people aren't like that either. So keep that in mind before I start my story.
I feel like the disclaimer is worse than what you said.
I read a quote that was, try your best until you know better, then do better. So
that's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I'll try my best. Yeah, read up on that a little bit more maybe. In any case, so last week before the Hootout on Thursday, I was in the on the sunny side of our flat. On the balcony, we have two, which you have to go through to get on. You have to get through my flatmate's room to get on the balcony. But she's always been fine with that. But of course, we've had a little trouble, some problems. She had like multiple, very aggressive outbursts on different occasions. I've even learned of one additional one I was not there to witness. She's got like really. Well, I don't think it's anger issues, but she's got problems. I think last time we talked about her, which was probably a time I got really angry. We diagnosed her from our armchair psychology couch with narcissistic personality disorder, which I'm still convinced is the right term. But so she had it out for me, I guess, because I
called her on her bullshit.
Yeah, I stood up for myself. I got loud. So I was there. Like she's been like with a friend, then on a vacation, and then she's staying somewhere else. Since then, more or less, just comes into our flat occasionally to get stuff. And yeah, I was on the balcony chilling in the sun, drinking a beer, relaxing. And she came back, saw me there, and promptly closed the doors to the balcony. So I couldn't get in anymore, but I didn't really realize she did that at the time. I realized she was there and just stayed on the balcony a little bit until she left because I didn't want to really have a conflict there. But yeah, she locked me out on the balcony. Luckily, I had my mobile phone, called my other flatmate, called her as well to ask if she really did this. And she was, she wasn't concerned with me as a narcissist wouldn't be, but more like how there could be a solution so she isn't bothered by it anymore. Like, have you checked the window? Have you, all that bullshit. Of course, there was no way out, so my other flatmate friend came to the rescue. It was like quarter an hour away to open up, let me out. Yeah, so that was the Thursday. Friday we had a Hootout. I didn't mention it because I wasn't that bothered by it. I mean, I knew this wasn't like on accident, or maybe it was an accident, but it was like subconsciously malicious thing she did. She claims that she didn't know that you couldn't open the doors like from the balcony side, but she's lived there for 8 years, so she should know. But yeah, she's gone on a vacation this week. So Sunday I was here, watched movies with your sister, which was nice, really, really great time. Monday was awesome. I mean, we had like the best weather here in Leipzig, so I decided that I'll make a little vacation day out of it. Stayed most of the time on the other side, on the other balcony, because it was too hot to be on the sun side. Just like made some gin tonics and relaxed, read comics, read a little bit in a book, just chilled there. It was a great time. And we all had like a great time. We all came back, like all the other flatmates. Great day. Then Tuesday. It was Tuesday. I think it was still really relaxed day. Everyone was pretty happy. Did all stuff. So Wednesday. Wednesday I started to get like. So this is what's happening. I guess I'm an empath. I'm someone who's really empathic, and thus I'm a really good target for narcissists. And I think, that happened on Tuesday. I think, did I write anything? Or did she write anything? I'm not sure. Some message was sent over our flatmate signal group, and she basically said that, right, yes, now I remember. She said that I am not allowed in her room anymore. I can't go on through her room to the balcony because I threatened her, was her word. And I think I corrected her and said, I didn't threaten you. I just told you off. So in German it was, I said, ich habe dich nicht bedroht. Ich habe dich nicht bedroht. Ich habe dir gedroht. Which is like a significant difference. So I didn't threaten her anything like violence-wise, but I did tell her that she would get to know me on my bad side, I guess, if she'd continue her harassment. Of course, she didn't hear like that she has just to be a normal person for me to ignore her. She just heard the threatening part. That was her like argument. And yeah, I wrote her that I didn't threaten her, and she wrote back, I felt threatened. And like everybody in my flat read that as well, and they were all pretty furious with that. I think I wrote to her, I didn't threaten you, I just told you off, and everybody else in the flat knows that as well. So quit your whining. That's what I wrote. But she just wrote like, I felt threatened. and then we just ignored her. But you know that really messes with you. And everybody was like a little bit on edge on Tuesday, and then Wednesday I was on edge, and then we had like rainy day, and then I didn't even feel like coming over like through all the rain. It was just like, oh, it's just so exhausting to have this flatmate just. And I knew that she would be back like on the weekend, and I was like already dreading that, because that's what she wrote. Like she'd be back on the weekend for something else, whatever. So Thursday rolls around. We are all. I think there was like a national holiday or like a holiday here. There was Männertag.
Right. Yes.
So it was really rainy, so nobody really did anything.
Yeah.
I was still... No, that was Wednesday. Wednesday was that. What? The holiday. Männertag.
That was yesterday.
Oh,
it's
right.
always a Thursday.
Right. Okay.
How do you not know that?
I don't like this.
You're in your 30s.
I don't like that. I ignore it. Sorry, I'm sorry that it's so confused of the story, but I promise we're getting to the meat and the glass on the floor. So keep that in mind. So on Wednesday, I was really exhausted. I didn't want to do anything. I just decided to do like the bare minimum of cooking with what I had, which was I still had like a pumpkin, butternut pumpkin, and some potatoes. So I just cut it up with olive oil and spices, put it in the oven and just let it on. But then my flatmates came and I said, like, if you want, I made a lot of it. So they were like, cool, you want to eat together or something? I was like, yeah, why not? It's nice. So they got a little bit more food, and then we made food, and then a friend of my other flatmate came, and then I don't know, it was just so nice. We listened to one of my playlists, ate, had fun. We had such a good time. And then we started just partying because the next day is free day, Thursday's free. So we listened to music. It went until 1 a.m. when I said, like, guys, I gotta sleep. I'm so tired. I'm tired since 2 or 3 hours, but it just was so fun. So I stayed, but now I gotta go. They were like, oh no, please stay. No, gotta sleep. Stayed strong. It's something that I have trouble with, but that worked out. And then, yeah, I got to go to bed, listen to them a little bit more, having fun and stuff, being loud. And it was just so, it was like this, what our flat could be. Everybody had a good time. So then Thursday comes around. And everybody's still really chill, like everything's fine. Like by accident, we ate together again, like in the early evening, because they made food. I was hungry. I went in the kitchen. They were, come join us. Let's eat something. I love my flatmates. I really do. Again, had a great time. Everybody went to their room. I watched some Ted Lasso. Cried a little bit. Was just so like, so nice here. Why is it so nice? Why can't it be so nice every time? And then crash, boom. And I thought, like, oh no, somebody left the doors open because we have a really strong draft, and probably the kitchen door slammed shut, and we've got like a little glass window, and it shattered. We were always afraid of that happening. So I went out, see the door, see the glass on the floor, and I see my my horrible flatmate there, staring at me, like really like this, like such an angry face, like lips tight, white from the pressure she applies to the lips, like really staring daggers at me. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Are you crazy? And I wanted to say, no, wait, I know you're crazy. Why am I even asking that? But I didn't even get to say anything because my other flatmates all came out, and what felt was simultaneously from their rooms. Everybody's just staring, and like our little like our smallest lightest flatmate just like made her way around me to just start shouting at her. Like, you've got to be kidding me, that's just not, you can't do that, and stop. And then she, like the problematic flatmate answered like something like, well, you right, because sorry, I forgot something. So flashback. We had on Tuesday, we also had like, we sat together and talked about what we're gonna do. We're gonna answer her like with the threat stuff, and I said like, no, leave it, no worries. But I wanna take that fucking poster that she put there just to spite everyone, and I'm gonna take it down, roll it up, put it in front of the door, and everybody's like, I don't know if we should do that. And I was like, I don't care. I don't want to see that fucking piece of shit there. So I took it down, rolled it up, put it there, and apparently, which I guess I kind of knew, because I didn't leave like the scotch tape off, so it went on the thing. So if you pull it up and you're not like really careful, you're gonna rip it. And I thought like, maybe you can do it without ripping, maybe you can't. Who cares? And yeah, so that had happened. She saw that, she got angry, she tried to do it, he ripped her own poster up and threw it there, then through the door multiple times, like in a short order apparently. I don't remember hearing that, but my memory again is really fuzzy because of all the adrenaline. And yeah, the glass window shattered again, like everybody comes down shouting at her, and she said, oh, I'm so angry, and everybody shouts like simultaneously, we are angry too. And then she says, I don't want to live here anymore. We say, we don't want you to live here, just go. She said, I'm gonna go, I just want to take my stuff. And I said, take your stuff, go, leave now, you can't stay here, that's too much. And even like our new flatmate who doesn't really get involved was also like, it's too much. You gotta go now. You can't do that. And my other flatmate, she even said like, I wish you all the best. She said, but you gotta go now. That's too much. It's just, yeah. And then like the problematic flatmate didn't even know how to respond from all of us. Like she got really angry. She stared at us. Then she, apparently, I didn't see it. She looked at the other side. I only saw the back of her head. She just remained there for like, what felt like 10 seconds. Still, and I was like prepared to catch her if she, I thought she would jump on my other flatmate and rip her face off or something. But apparently she kind of looked like she got to her senses for a second. She kind of realized what's up. And then she went into her own room. We just stared at the glass at the floor, and then flatmate said, yeah, what the fuck are you going to do with that now? And then the problematic flatmate came out again and said, I'm gonna put that all away, all the glass shards. I'm gonna clean it up. Then everyone was like, good, and went to their separate rooms. She put all her stuff, made the glass away, stuff, cleaned up the glass shards, and went again to wherever she's staying now. And we all gathered in one of our rooms, and just, everybody was just shaking, and I kind of was like really proud of everyone, because we really got the chance to together stand against her and show her that we have, like, it's full. We are not gonna take more of this shit. We had like a moment to all together stand up and stand against her, and it was really dramatic. Everybody was really, what are we going to do now? I mean, like, the girls didn't feel safe anymore, just worried that she would come back or stuff like that. And we were wondering, what can we do, because we can't kick her out.
Why not?
because it's legally impossible. She's on the
Just change the locks, put her stuff on the curb. Let her hire a lawyer and try to sue you for that or whatever. But
yeah. This is the thing. Yeah, I said that as well, but everybody was like, or like most, like the new guy was like, we can't do that, and she will just get more angry and stuff like that. But I said like it's kind of not it doesn't matter what she feels like. If we don't feel safe in our own flat, we gotta do something. So we've got a regular lock and a special lock, and the special lock, funny story, we only lock on Christmas when like everybody's gone. And 2 years ago, when we did that, the problematic flatmate came back first, and she forgot that we do that and didn't have a key for that.
Nice.
So she was standing in front of it. She had to call someone who like drilled a hole in it to get in the flat. Yeah. So we didn't have that lock anymore. But she bought a new lock, but she never installed it because it was like too much work, too complicated. She always like said like, she's gonna do it eventually, but that was like 2 years ago. So I took a look at the new lock and the old one, and with a little help from my other flatmates, we installed it like in 15 minutes without looking at the instructions, just like try and arrowing it. And we locked it, and we wrote her that it's now locked, and if she wants to come over, she's got to tell us, and then we can let her in. Nice. She already answered that this is legally not possible. She always can. And I just told everyone that just let her have a tantrum. She can call the police. It's not gonna hurt us anything. They are not gonna like do anything. But we're basically waiting for the next thing. She already told us that she will be back Sunday, which is when we wanted to have like a nice breakfast all together. It's like she feels that we are happy, or we are planning to be happy, and then this happens because like again Thursday was awesome. No, Wednesday was awesome, and Thursday we got our little explosion there. Yeah, and I watched like a lot of videos about narcissists again. I even like told everyone a technique. I don't know if you know that gray rock. So if you have a narcissist in your life, the best thing is to just cut him off. Just never see him again. Cut him out of your life, because narcissists are really toxic people who will ruin your life, your health. So this is the best thing you can do. If you can't do that, if it's, for example, a flatmate, or if it's your parents, or if it's someone else in your family, or a co-worker, or a boss. I mean, if it's your boss, you should quit, but if you can't, so gray rock is a method that's centers around being as boring as gray rock. So the narcissist loses interest in you. So if they ask you something, you answer as short as possible. If you just yes or no. Ideally, you don't even say yes or no. You just say or You don't look them in the eye. You don't tell them anything about you. Never tell narcissists anything about your personal life, because they will use it against you. And then like over time, the narcissist won't get supply, and the supply is either attention. I mean, it's always attention, but attention can be like positive, like you are like, oh, it's great what you are doing, blah blah blah, or negative attention, conflict, discussions, conflict, in general. So you gotta cut them off of the supply, so the narcissist goes and finds someone else. Of course, I told that everyone, and that she smashed the door, and everybody ran out shouting at her, doing the exact opposite. But I guess in that situation, it was the right thing to do, because
you have to set boundaries.
She looked so surprised, and I don't think she really she really thought that we will all together gonna stand up and show her that there are limits what she can do. Yeah. But as I said, we wrote her that she can only come if she tells us so. She already answered that, well, it's her flat, so she can come and go as she wants. So legally we can't do anything, and if we don't let her in, she's gonna call the police. I told everybody, just don't engage. Let her rant. And then she said her alternative is that we are just gonna leave all her stuff be, just don't touch it, and she will be there as little as possible. She hasn't said anything about the door she smashed or about the tantrum she had. It's just about her again. So yeah, now we're gonna ignore her.
But isn't there something you can do? I mean, it can't be that you have to stay with a person who destroys the flat and disrupts the peace and all that stuff. Can you talk to your landlord about how to get them moved?
No, the landlord can't do anything. Only thing the landlord can do is, with our approval, they could nullify our contract, but we don't want that because the contract is over 20 years old, and you don't get you don't get the conditions we have. And if they want to get rid of us, they'd have to pay us lots of money. So now we can't do anything there. Legally, we can't kick her out, but we can do what we are doing now. We can lock the door and make her, announce when she comes. We don't have to give her a key. We have to let her in, of course, when she can call the police, but we can also call the police. And we are 4 people who can tell that she is a violent person, which she is.
Have you documented the damage?
No.
Do it.
Yeah, we should have taken pictures, yeah.
I mean, the glass is still broken, right?
Yeah.
Just take a picture of that. And maybe it would be a good idea to call the police every time she freaks out and she breaks something. And just to, obviously they're not going to do anything.
Yeah.
But that you have, this history of her. Yeah. So that maybe at some point you can get a restraining order.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, it's tough. We looked a little bit into possible scenarios to get rid of her, but I don't see anything we can do. That's a good idea to.
I mean, at the very least, if she knows that, anytime she pulls a stunt like this, you call the police, the harassment of that alone hopefully makes her think twice. There have to be consequences, because the thing is, she can do this stuff because there's no consequence for her.
Well, we made sure there were some consequences. She didn't like that.
Yeah, so you're mad at her for 5 minutes, but in the end, that's her preferred state of being, isn't it?
I guess she's livid now, too. I mean, she wrote 3 messages or 4 in response today, and nobody reacts to it. I think it's going to make her mad, hopefully.
I mean, I think at the very least it would be good to maybe just talk to the police what options you have there. If this is something where you can call them about, that you can sort of build a thing, and just see just so that it's not just, because yes, maybe she was surprised and maybe it was awkward for her for 2 minutes, but 2 minutes later, she has already justified it in her head why you are wrong, and she keeps doing the same thing again and again. It's the negative attention thing.
Yeah, we have calling the police when she does something like that. That's already all planned. Yeah, for sure. I think checking it before is a good idea too. Probably we'll look into that. And
I mean, that excessive screaming and stuff, that's also disturbing the peace and shit like that, right?
I don't know, maybe.
I mean, obviously when people can call the police if you listen to music too loud, you probably can call the police if someone is having a screaming fit.
Yeah, I guess.
Or at the very least to call them to just check up on this person who is having a mental breakdown or something.
Yeah.
Just so that there's someone there where she feels especially awkward about it. Because, you know, that's a different kind of authority than just you guys that she has been walking over for years.
Yeah, especially because she can't pull her stunts with the police because she will get arrested. She can't like shout and curse. I still have some. Yeah, definitely. But oh boy, I tell you, it's rough living in a flat where you are afraid of your flatmate. I mean, I'm constantly under stress now. Yeah. Like it started Tuesday with the message. I did manage to cope. I also talked with my therapist about that. My therapist also is a bit worried. I mean, it really increased my my alcohol and consumption, you know. And she wasn't happy about that, so I reduced that this week because I see that I can see that. I mean, I feel like I got it in my bones. Like I have lots of like my joints are painful now. I can't do my usual morning routine yoga stuff. I can't do a couple of things anymore because they hurt too much. Like on my left, what's that, Handgelenk? Wrist, yeah. Which I don't use for anything really. So I don't know, maybe sleeping weird or stuff like that. But I think like just the stress is just like accumulating. You know, what's that? Entzündung. Inflammation, yeah. And of course, the beer doesn't help with inflammation either. But I think it's like 90% stress. I also got the heavy chest and like I have something in my throat today. It's just today. Like today is like peak stress for me. I mean, I guess technically yesterday was... No, that's not true. I think like yesterday, I mean, it peaked on the confrontation, but because we could let our stress out, like shout at her, see her gone, and then, you know, I just did some sport and then I changed the lock, which helped. But it's just crazy. Hey, Anna.
Sorry to hear that. Get better soon.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I don't know when she's gonna move out. So there's just this uncertainty, and you know, I can feel my heart like hurting when I'm there. Like driving here with my bike was just, you know, I could physically feel how the stress went down. And being here is just great. I mean, I still am under more stress than I normally am.
Yeah. But
it's just crazy that like one person can have such a effect on like 4 other people living there.
Yeah.
Like she terrorizes us, literally. And it's like, I mean, that's a health concern for us. Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if she can harass you and, you know, pull all her stunts and there's nothing you can do, then you can do that too.
Yeah.
And maybe there is a point at which there has to be warfare.
Yeah.
To just make it unbearable for her to live there. Throw out all her stuff or something anytime she buys food, just throw it out.
Yeah, well, she's not there buying any food anymore, but
Or just take her stuff out of her room, put it in the cellar or some shit. Like, just do things to, like, make it unbearable and be in her face all the time so that she doesn't want to be there. Because right now, I think it's more that you guys don't want her to be there. And she's just happy about having someone to harass and abuse.
I don't think she's happy. No. I think she's probably maybe not as stressed as we are, but I think she's under a lot of stress because, I mean, she's lived there for 8 years and now she's being forced out by us. I mean, she sees herself always as the victim.
Sure, but her stress is being funneled into the abuse of you guys. So she has an outlet. Her outlet is the stress that you have, basically. So, you know, if it becomes more that you guys are her active stress to that she, maybe doesn't feel safe there or just doesn't want to set foot in that thing anymore, then, you know.
That's definitely something I'm aware of, that we have the possibility. And if we give her the chance to be like to do her stuff on Sunday. We're gonna do our breakfast anyway, and if she's becomes a problem again, I think we're gonna force her out, and then I'm gonna tell her that we can tolerate her if she's decent, but if she wants an open warfare, she will get one. And I think I have a lot of criminal energy in me that's just waiting for. This is also like my brain already works like in this weird paranoid way. So as you know, I've already prepared. I'm already preparing for the worst. So she's gonna draw the short straw on that, but it might still happen. And I'm thinking that we shouldn't try to push this, because this will create more stress for us as well. I think it's better if we don't need to engage her, and maybe she's learned her lesson there now.
As if.
I'm not really confident, but not gonna go like farther than I have to. But I will go. I will check her moves. If the more aggressive she gets, the more aggressive I will get, and in the end, we'll see where.
Pull a Roland and take away her door. Store it here.
Nice. That's an idea for sure. I mean, I can just like put it off and put it in her room. I don't think she's able to put it back there. I don't know. I don't know what I'll do, what we'll do. But there's a lot of stuff that's possible. Just like, I thought like maybe you can order some or find some moths, some clothes moth, and put it in her cupboard. You know, stuff like that she really can't trace back to me, but will fuck
powder
her
in her bed.
Yeah, exactly. Just like, I don't know, like a rotten tomato somewhere in her stuff, because that stuff smells.
But yeah, stuff like that, because my worry is, why would she actually move out? I mean, she talks about it, but why would she actually do it at this point?
I think she's paying double right now to live somewhere else because she doesn't want to live with us. So just the money-wise, I think she has...
But still, with people like that, I feel like they thrive on the conflict and the chaos.
Yeah, supply for the narcissist, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of...
But why should doing more help then?
Because so far it's on her terms. It's all on her terms. She causes all the stress. And sure, she also has some, but I feel like that's the same way how I'm overly concerned with like social justice stuff to the point where it like breaks my brain a bit, but also, and causes me too much stress, but also I thrive on that type of thing, because I want to learn about that stuff, and I get a lot out of that negative emotion of how fucked up everything is. And I feel like for a person with that twisted head, it's the same way. Yeah, it's conflict, but they also like thrive on it. And I feel like there's also this because as a narcissist, you can't back down. You can't accept that you are wrong or that you've lost or all this type of thing. So that even if she now pays double and even if it's stressful, I feel like she's gonna fight to the death for her right. And so far it is all her doing all her terms. It's not like you guys are harassing her, she's harassing you, and yeah, all she has to deal with is your reaction. But since she creates the reaction, she has full control over it. So she can create conflict when she's ready to deal with your reaction. She can, make your life hell because she knows all you're gonna do is like give her one talking to, and then it all goes back to normal. And so I feel like there needs to be a conflict that is not comfortable for her, and that is getting too much, and that is on your terms. If there's nothing else that can be done, of course. I mean, this is not advocating being shit or anything, but
I kind of disagree on that, because I think she strives on conflict, whether it be on her terms or not. And I think she's the master of feeling the victim, so you don't have to do much for her.
Yeah, but she's not a victim yet. So make her a victim so she doesn't enjoy pretending to be a victim anymore.
I see that, and that's something we will escalate to. I just think, like, at this point, I think after the confrontation where we showed her the limit of what we're going to tolerate, I think we shouldn't engage anymore until she does something, and then we can talk again about.
I'm just saying, because I feel like this moment where you showed her the limit, it's happened many, many times, right?
Yeah, it will happen more times. I mean, I don't think she can learn out of this, because she never sees what she does to us. She always sees what happens to her. Yeah, and she will always, do this kind of stuff to have conflict. But if we give her a reason to do it, if she doesn't have a reason, she usually doesn't have to. She's not really confrontational. If nothing happened, she was like getting her stuff. Like for 2 weeks, we had peace until she found the poster that triggered her again. I think she does need something to trigger, but we'll see on Sunday, I guess. Like maybe. Because there's a thing, you can't, and we won't try to work around her anymore, because she will always find a reason if she needs one. So if we are having a breakfast and having fun, and she's getting her stuff, she will think we are doing that to spite her, and that will be her reason. But yeah, I don't know. Another thing that was really clear and that really I enjoyed is, if she really thought I was threatening her, she would have never pulled that shit. So that was bullshit.
Of course it is.
Yeah,
it's all bullshit.
But yeah, I think she'll learn how threatening I can be. And I mean, that's the thing, right? Because now I'm always on the alert, and that's really grinding me down. It's really the stress is really unhealthy, and it's affecting my productivity. It's affecting my health. But I'll be ready if she pulls some stuff, and I want to be there, especially for my flatmates who, yeah, as I said, they are afraid of her. They don't know what's gonna happen. I don't think they have to be afraid of her, because I don't think she's gonna be physical, but who knows? But just the thought, like it doesn't even have to be like a physical confrontation you are afraid of. It's just like just the thought, just this stress that's like in your heart, just that thought that she could, like, at any time she could like pop up.
Yeah, it's psychological violence.
Yeah, it
doesn't matter if it's physical or not.
Absolutely. Yeah. I really slept horribly this night as well. It's really fucking with my sleep because I'm already overly alert all the time. But if you give me like a little reason like that, I'm starting to spin out of control if I don't really watch out. But I don't know. On the other hand, I see the silver lining as well of all that. First of now, we have like an incident where we all can agree on that she's going too far. Before, it was always like someone was like, well, she's going through a tough time. She's already looking. Nobody has much of. I guess the new guy still has a little bit of what's that called? Midlight again. Pity for her, yeah. Because he's like he's also very much about like non-engagement. He didn't want us to lock the door and tell her and all that stuff, but yeah. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm really confused and I could have told that story better. I mean, sorry, David Lynch, for comparing my style to you. Didn't quite pan out.
It wasn't metaphorical enough.
Yeah.
It was a very straightforward, flash forward style. But yeah, I mean, I feel like this illustrates very well the problem with always wanting to see the best in people.
Mm-hmm.
You have to see people for what they are, not the best that they could be if they're not, So, and then
if someone shows you how they are, believe them, right?
Yes, exactly that. Yeah, because some people will abuse that impulse. And then you have years of headaches and sore throats and no sleep.
Yeah. No, it's really like narcissists are really weird. I mean, I didn't know that there can be this victim narcissist, like the video Dr. Ramini on YouTube. She's done like a whole channel just about narcissism and how to survive with narcissist people around you, what you can do, what you shouldn't do. And she calls them, I think, I forgot the right term, but basically stealth narcissists, because the narcissist I don't know how many people really know about narcissism, but in this world, I think you need to know that, because there are so many out there, especially in the workplace, like your bosses, especially in the computer games industry.
Mm-hmm.
Like basically every boss I had was a narcissist. No, it's not quite right. The one boss was fine, but he's had like the narcissist boss behind him. These are people who think of themselves as better than everybody else, and who are only concerned about their own well-being, and who cannot and will not consider how other people feel. And the stealth narcissist hasn't this grandiose appearance. The stealth narcissist isn't telling you all the time that he's the best in everything. He's gonna tell you that he could be the best, but like the world doesn't let him. He's or she. And apparently the stealth narcissism is more in women, though I think, or at least Dr. Ramini says, like 80. She estimates that 80% of all narcissists are male, but women are catching up fast. Yeah. The stealth narcissist is really stealthy in the way that there's always a reason why they aren't like on top and you think like, that's not a narcissist. She's like really humble, or she's really humble in a kind of way. But if you really listen to them, you'll hear that everybody else's fault all the time. And that's what she told us. And I mean, I've lived with her for 2 years before realizing it. And I didn't realize it. You told it to me after you realized it from my stories that this is obviously a narcissist.
I was surprised that you were surprised to learn this, because it's like so very, very obvious.
Yeah, if you listen to the story.
It's me. So what else could it be?
Yeah. I mean, we've wasted so much time like trying to explain or like to argue with her what's up. I mean, that's the same thing we did with Winky. And it's something you should never do. Never argue with the narcissist. Never try to tell them they are narcissists, because it won't work. They will turn it around, and then you will suffer for trying.
But I also feel like there's more to that, because I feel like you can be narcissistic, but also not be overtly abusive.
Yeah.
I mean, when you say stealth narcissist without knowing the exact definition, I think we fit that. That's my immediate reaction to that.
No, everybody has like a narcissist, like people can be narcissistic or like have narcissistic tendencies, but there's a difference between like a narcissistic personality disorder and just being a little bit narcissistic, which of course we are. Like we should be on top of the world.
Yeah, I mean, there's a certain streak of thinking we know things better in ways, and I'm pretty sure we feel superior to many. But it doesn't mean that we have to exact narcissistic abuse.
Yeah, the more important thing is we care about other people. That's what the narcissistic disorder cannot and will not do. They will never care about other people, except if caring helps them. The Dr. Ramani says in her experience there are like 4 different types of narcissists. The stealth is one, the regular narcissist, the grandiose narcissist, and the malignant narcissist. These are like the people who she said like the Bernie Madoff type, who are criminal as well. They are not only thinking they deserve everything, they take it as well. They are thieves, cheaters. They are violent. They make great criminals because the manipulation you already like a narcissistic person is really great at manipulating people, and a malignant narcissist is just great at doing that, and also breaking the laws and exploiting to a much higher extent. And then she says the 4th one is the communal narcissist. That's someone who's really, for example, really into social causes, but is always like presenting themselves in using those causes. It's always like, this morning I'm helping the poor, and like making a photo, and they like look like perfect in it, and then in the background you can see the poor people and stuff like that, who use like that to be better than everybody else. So you might have a little bit of that, but you're not a narcissistic person. Like you don't have that as a disorder. We are a little narcissistic. She said like how she's got an interesting video about how narcissists are born, and she says it's a lot about different factors that play into, and even if you got them all, you don't necessarily become or get a narcissistic disorder. For example, if you are like sad as a child, and your mother says to you, "Oh, don't be sad. You make me sad when you're sad," or stuff like that. they make your emotions, your negative emotions, like they say that
emotional abuse, manipulation.
I guess that's that, yeah. I kind of feel like that happened to me one time or another, but not exactly like that. But I think it was like sad, and then I had like this. Well, what should I do about that? Like instead of like, oh, that's bad. I'm sorry for that. Just like, what should I do about that?
Sounds like a you problem.
Yeah. Exactly.
I love that. I wish there was a snappy way to say that in German.
Yeah.
That just doesn't sound as good. But yeah, that's definitely... I mean, we've talked about that before. We have a very similar kind of how we ended up where we are. That I feel like attacked on two angles of being actively criticized and thus trying to do, well, that's the perfectionism that comes in. And of course, with perfectionism comes
compensating, basically.
Yeah, with that comes both an insecurity and a pride. Because I mean, you have that too, right? The insecure narcissistic personality structure.
Yeah. She said like that, what's it called? The anxious, like if you can be brought up secure or anxious, like relationship types.
Mm-hmm.
You have the anxious something else relation type. You know what I'm talking about.
I sort of know what you're getting.
Yeah. And that's definitely like how we are brought up. We have this anxious, and I guess at the core of every narcissist is this insecurity about themselves.
Oh yeah,
but that doesn't mean that you need to be. If you are, if you are insecure, that you are a narcissist, right?
Yeah, it's
you can handle your insecurities in another way.
Yeah, the way I experience how I make sense of it for myself is that I mean, I grew up with a very critical and narcissistic father, and so everything I would say, there would always be a danger of being criticized or being yelled at or just being mocked.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's where all that I'm not good enough comes from. But the way it makes sense to me is that my brain, to keep myself from completely falling apart because of that, basically developed a protective narcissism. That through the efforts that then I made to not be criticized and all the efforts I put in being the most perfect person I could possibly be, that there's a part of me that thinks, yeah, I am awesome and I worked really hard on being awesome. And so, yeah, fuck everyone else. I am the best at everything. And so but it never for me took over completely. And I feel like that's what may happen for other people who completely shut down the insecure part and only go into the narcissism to just be never questioning themselves, never having that really, I mean, it's a really painful struggle to not feel good enough and to always wonder, is this the moment where I find out that, yeah, I'm gonna be ousted or I'm not worthy to survive and all that stuff. And yeah, I get why some people would want to shut that part off and just go 100% and I'm the only person who's right, everyone else is wrong. That makes some sense. But then maybe it was helped by, I think we both have some anxious moms. And yeah, I feel like that's where
anxious attachment style, attachment style. Sorry, continue.
But yeah, so this thing where when you notice, oh god, yeah, and that's what is also emotional abuse, but which is a little bit still hard to wrap my head around sometimes. But But yeah, basically the oversharing of emotion that a child can't possibly handle yet. If the parent can't handle the emotion, why would the child? But suddenly there we are. We're experiencing a parent in distress. And of course, having to experience that feels like it's our job to fix it. And so I think it becomes both. Maybe through that there's a certain empathy, but there's also and then of course if you start to learn to regulate that, then that's all the more reason to be super into yourself, because you're so empathic, even though it's kind of a toxic version of that.
Yeah. Anxious avoidant. Anxious avoidant attachment style. If your parents, if you grow up with an anxious avoidant parents, or one parent, you're in a greater risk to have these narcissistic tendencies. And of course we had that. But I think we also had still at least one loving parent, kinda, and that might have protected us from going all the way.
That's the part that's so difficult to untangle, because it feels like I have a more emotional connection with my mom than my dad. But to realize that connection is also deeply abusive in its own way, in a more subtle way. I always want to forgive my mom and be mad at my dad. And in many ways, I think what my mom did with that, not regulating herself and making me, a child who has not developed the capacity for all these emotions, instead of teaching me to do that, she basically transferred her lack of being able to do that onto me.
Yeah.
And that is also it's a very complicated type of abuse, because obviously I empathize with my mom and I love her and I want her to be okay and everything, but that exact thing is how the abuse basically works.
Yeah. Yeah, but and it's really important to be aware of that, to not pass it on the next generations. But
we gotta take responsibility for our own shit. That's just always the thing. In that moment, neither of my parents took responsibility for anything.
No,
they did not take responsibility for not having taught me the things that they wanted me to do and just yell at me for not already doing them, or they just deal with my shit. I can't deal with my anxieties about stuff. You do it. And that is using a person, therefore abusing a person. And now we have to fix them still.
I guess we can't fix them anymore. We can just try to...
No, we're both still working on that, aren't we?
I was wondering about that, reading more about narcissists and I don't know if how much work I want to put into lecturing and healing my parents.
Oh no!
Dr. Ramini has also a great. He's a couple good, so many good videos, but one about how narcissists or what happens when narcissists interact with authentic people. And she defines authentic person as someone who is aware of their weaknesses, but not pulled down by their weakness. They're not anxious about being incomplete because they have weaknesses. They're just aware of them and they accept themselves with their weaknesses, and they are aware of their strength, but they are not using them to feel better or putting themselves above other people. They're just aware of their strength and weaknesses, and they're just very secure in how they are with both of them. And she said the most authentic people she knows are people that are 50 years or older. And she's of the opinion that authentic people don't grow up authentic, that this is something you have to work on that you can become, that it takes time. And she herself says that she can see how much work she's done to get better, and she can see that that age plays a big role in finding authenticity. And when an authentic person and a narcissist interact, the narcissist cannot hurt the authentic person, because every criticism of the weakness is accepted by the authentic person. So, yeah, you're right. That's definitely something I could improve, without like being hurt by that. And it makes the narcissists, of course, crazy. But like the narcissist will not be able to like steal a conversation and put it and like focus on themselves when there's an authentic person, because the authentic person notices that and can in a healthy and courteous way just like acknowledge, yeah, that's right, you've got a nice car, but what were you saying again? Just steer it back again. Yeah, I felt that was like really that's what I wanna head to. I want to become authentic. I want to learn how to accept,
comfortable with your weaknesses.
Yeah, be comfortable and be comfortable with my strength, because I'm comfortable with neither.
Really?
Yeah, I can't. I mean, you know that I'm not really comfortable with like people saying that I'm.
Well, you're not comfortable
ugly.
with feedback.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable
because you feel like you don't deserve it or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
because I'm not comfortable with I don't see my strength. Maybe that's that, or maybe I don't know. Either way, it doesn't matter how you put it. I think there's work to be done. But I can see like a goal I can work towards, and I will probably not arrive at it in this life, but
I don't.
But we'll see.
That I don't believe that.
Let's talk again when we're 50.
No, because I feel like I'm already there. What you described just now, I was like, So that's something what you can say about yourself. So I can be proud, because I am proud of my strengths.
Sure, it's not your narcissism coming out again.
So that's what I always
Sorry,
kind of really accuse myself of.
No,
but that is very much what I accuse myself of a lot, just to make sure that's not the case. Like, I don't necessarily believe it, but that's certainly something that I like to check in about every now and then, just to be sure I'm on the right track. But in general, yeah, I am very comfortable with the many things I'm awesome at, and I'm also very comfortable with my shortcomings, and I'm very comfortable with working on them. Actually, I crave it to some extent, because I got into this rhythm of, oh shit, yeah, I can fix that. Because, I mean, obviously, despite the narcissistic streak, and the strong narcissistic streak that I developed.
I mean, just so what you've got is like, you've got phases where you're just like so confident about yourself and your work, and you're like, I did this, you gotta listen to that song, and you gotta look at that, and it's just like, and you wear that even more like back in the day. You got like every new person that came in the group, you've got to show them everything.
Oh, I missed that. But I started to feel annoying, and to some degree, I'm
Oh, you were annoying to a point. And I remember that you showed like Louisa with something salad finger video, and she's really
It was the thing with the dog. It was from the same guy.
Yeah, but she's not good with like
where
horror.
he cuts off his limbs to.
Yeah,
she was body.
She was really, really disturbed by that. But of course, she couldn't tell you that. She sat there and she just took it because she wanted to be.
Sounds cautious. Like a you problem.
For sure, part of it, yeah.
Or maybe of course I try to be more. I mean,
it's not that bad, to be honest. It's just like sometimes you overdo it.
That's the thing. That's what being comfortable with your weaknesses means, right? I think I stopped doing this thing still in a phase where I just was really deeply self-loathing. But really, that's sort of where I had this breaking point where I looked at all the stuff that I hate about myself and realized none of this is that bad. Yeah, I'm sometimes annoying. I talk too much. I get super intense about certain subjects that nobody cares about. But so fucking what?
Yeah.
That's just me, and my track record with friendships is pretty good because people seem to like me anyway. So why the fuck am I beating myself up that much? And yeah, I mean, it's not an excuse for me to stop trying, but I do feel that I've reached this point of kind of contentment with the person that I am.
That's nice. Well, I'm still looking, but I feel like I'm getting closer every day a little bit, and I think
it is, and that's why I'm also saying like a pshaw to your I'm not gonna reach it in this lifetime, because it's like just over the last year I feel like so much has happened because we had a lot of intense conversations, and it's really like if we look back, you can definitely see like a really visible, noticeable change, you know. And so give it a couple more years and that's solved.
Yeah, another 10 years.
Not 10. 1, 2, 3 maybe maximum. I feel like
well,
in a year or
we're
two.
never gonna stop growing, so
of course not, but that's part of life. We just need to reach that point where we're comfortable with that.
Okay, I guess.
And that point,
that's maybe easier to reach than I think, but
because I think growth is still part of an authentic life, no?
No, of course.
So,
it's not like you're there and then that's that. And I'm sure like an authentic person isn't like 100% happy with strength and weakness. It's just like they are secure enough that like the everyday interactions don't push him off the edge and let him fall into like excessive narcissism or I don't know, self-loathing. Maybe that's the opposite. And I feel like I'm learning so much through this conflict I have right now as well. I mean, it's so fucking hard, and it's hard for everyone in our flat, and we are all like really suffering. There's no getting around to that. I think I'm doing a disservice like to people who are living in war zones, but I definitely get closer to understanding what it is to live under constant stress, because that's something that's something really, really specific and different that I hadn't experienced before. I mean, I know I've lived like in stressful stuff, but like having your home become a war zone, even if it's just like emotional war zone, this is something else.
My wife has logged on. Hello.
We missed some Georgia news, but I guess you can listen to it.
That's where we get all YouTube views, I think.
That's great. At least one person working on our success on YouTube. By the way, hit like and subscribe.
Oh right, we have like a thing that I can.
Oh yeah, do that.
I keep forgetting because there's no people who actually need it, but there you go.
That's nice. I mean, I don't need that many viewers. I'm really happy with what we've got here. I mean, I think last episode wasn't our greatest, but
yeah, that was a very tired one.
Yeah. So maybe we should like think about skipping it every once in a while. I don't know. Maybe sometimes we have like a slow start and then it becomes really great.
Yeah, because if you had asked me today, I was thinking about I would like to skip it because I was tired and exhausted. But then we start talking and
I wanted to skip it too, but just because I didn't want to. But I did want to come over and like not be in my flat right now. And
you can do that anyway.
I'm so anxious.
I'm not gonna force you to work.
I'm so anxious about like Sunday.
Yeah.
Because I think that's gonna be another fight.
Well, I'm looking forward to next week when we find out all about it.
Yeah.
But speaking of contentment, something that I've kind of really what I'm cautiously excited about, but also terrified. Yes.
Just for a second. Did you know you could order ladybugs in huge quantities?
I did not.
Online.
What would you do with them?
I don't know, release it in a room. Anyway, what were you saying again?
Maybe put in a hornet's nest.
Well, I don't think you can order these. I'll look into it.
In terms of contentment, I've kind of, in the last weeks, I've reached sort of a level of being okay that I don't think I've experienced either for a while or maybe ever. I mean, I kind of remember that when I was, in my teens, when I was 16, the last few years of school, I remember that, I would chat with friends and every day they would ask me, how are you doing? I would always answer with great, and I meant it. And I sort of remember that time, but I also know that must have been bullshit because obviously I was not okay. I just wasn't aware of how not okay I was.
Possibly.
But still, I've now... I mean, I have these moments. And last Friday, for example, was one of these moments where I lost it again. So I wasn't doing so well last week. I mean, that's probably also part of why I was a little bit... but yeah, there's... I found really prolonged phases of just feeling really good, which is so weird.
Yeah, you're making that face feel good?
How is that even possible?
Something has to be serious, really wrong for me to feel good.
It's there is even... So I had this first, I think, after I watched Ted Lasso. Because after I watched it, the next day I was just radiating, and
I felt it.
Somehow I feel like that held for a day or two, and then it dropped down again, but then it just came back, and I have this, it's almost like there's a warmth radiating through my body, it feels like. It's a very, very weird kind of sensation. And then at times I just lose it again, I don't know if it's the weather or if it's just that you need a kind of an ebb and flow of emotion.
Well, you always have it's always waves, I think, but it doesn't have to be this big that you actually feel it.
Maybe it is that many years ago when I was struggling, you sent me a video, a TED talk of a Buddhist monk who was talking about meditation being sort of not about stopping negative emotion, but sort of that there is always a high, that you imagine it like an ocean. There's always going to be waves, there's peaks and valleys, but the meditation is about raising the water level so that when it goes into a valley, it doesn't scratch the floor. It's goes up, and it feels like that might be what's happening now. That I have peaks because the valleys aren't that bad. I just kind of mildly miserable.
Yeah.
Nothing specific, but just a sense of I'm not feeling so hot today.
Yeah.
And those moments, they always put me into a panic of
is it coming back?
Was this a fluke that I for 2 minutes was feeling okay? Because I feel like I'm...
Well, it's even worse. Is it coming back? Did it never leave and I just...
Did I lose it? Because it's weird, because I feel like I don't have control over it necessarily. Although there seems to be some degree of control, because I do find ways to bring it back, but not in a way that I feel like I have a real blueprint for how to do it. Just, the other day, like last week, when I was feeling shitty, then I sat down and I wrote a little concept stuff on my Metal Chaser novel. And the things that I came up with to just write character, right? They were really good. Like suddenly there were like connections and how these things fit together and things falling into place, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. And the way I make sense of it for me is that I'm okay in the now. As long as I can stay in the present, I am so good. Because right now, I mean, sure, there's many things to worry about that are going to be a problem in the future, but right now, this minute, everything's fine.
I think that's the trick. Except if you're living in a flat with a toxic...
Exactly. So
then you can't live in it now. Then you want to live somewhere else.
That is... But yeah, that's definitely true, because I couldn't do this while I was still living with my parents or anything, because that was horrible. But I have my own space. It's small and shitty, but I like it. I have no real problems.
That's too small, not too shitty either.
I mean...
It's scrappy, I guess. And
I make it work.
Not huge. I like your room. I like staying here, yeah. I like staying overnight.
It is... I like it too. It's a... But that's the thing. I like being here. And, after all the talks we had in recent months, there's a lot of pressures that have gone away, a lot of big problems I have tackled. So there's nothing that is very immediate right now. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, like where am I going to get money? There's going to be a baby entering my family soon that nobody's going to take care of but me, and I don't have, my wife.
Okay.
And how are we going to afford that? Because we can barely afford our own lives, and there's no other family to help. But that's future me problem, And I even feel in a way like they're probably not that big. Just if you look into the future and you see all the problems that you will have to deal with, then it feels like having to solve them all at once, which is too much for anyone to handle. But if you take them step by step, day by day, then it's not that big of a problem. Because you can handle a piece of it. Sure, you can't solve it all at once, but you can do it. You can iterate through all the problems.
Yeah. I told you about the book Bird by Bird, I think maybe at some point. It's a great book. Can recommend to everyone.
I'm not sure. It doesn't ring a bell immediately.
It's by a really great writer, and she tells about a story about her little brother having to do like a school thing, like a lexicon of birds and stuff, and he waited too long until like the last day or something, and he's like freaking out and asking his father, like, how am I going to do this? How should I finish this? And he says, easy, bird by bird. And yeah, it's an awesome book. It's a really small one, really, like if you want to have some motivation for writing, and like if we can borrow if you're interested.
Because it is also, that is very much also this senseless struggle that I have with writing, that I not just want to make the process of writing a word at a time, going over it again and again until it's good. I want to write the perfect book right from the start, and that doesn't work. That's how you get writer's block, trying to write well. Yeah. It just doesn't work.
Same with coding. I mean, I worked on the intro, and I had like really trouble starting it because I knew what I wanted to have, but I didn't really know how to do all of it. And I consciously had to say like, okay, I'm just gonna start with how will Kevin go into the room? That's the first thing I do. Okay, now I got that. How can he just fade in? That's the second thing. So how can I move the red? How can I add the thief? How can I add the movie? What's that?
The letterboxes.
The letterboxes, right? Now I'm finished. That's not.
Yeah.
It wasn't that hard, but
because a step at a time you can do. Doing it all at once, impossible.
Yeah.
And it's so silly how we are, I mean, I guess we have been trained to view it that way. Because why would we otherwise? To just as a problem that we have to solve all at once, and so you don't even start because it's humanly impossible to do that. And
it's like looking at a book and deciding like, how can I read all that in just 1 second and then just not starting?
That is exactly it. So yeah, in the now it's fine, but I notice that sometimes, even if it's not very overt, that I don't know that I'm worrying about something, but just my brain is working, and it skips around, and it's not like, when I have like my really bad rumination phases where I just can't turn my brain off, but it's there, and it does ruin my day a bit, and obviously I'm aware of this, but that's why I get scared, because I am aware of this, and I want to pull myself back out of that and be in the present, but I don't really know how it works, how I can do this. Even when I try to meditate, it doesn't necessarily help, and then whatever I try to do, and then there's like small things, like for example the writing that day worked. The other day, like 2 days ago or something, I also had like a meh day. And I sat down to write, but it didn't really help. I mean, it was good, and I was really like happy with all the things I came up with, but it didn't change the slight undercurrent of anxiety that I had. And then, some time later in the night, I was like, okay, what I usually like to do when I am in these phases is to just reminisce about times that I enjoyed or something, and then look through old stuff, and then I'm trying to do that with things that I don't look at as often, because they are my favorite, like all the videos of my travels that I made. I've watched them so much that...
Because you never do stuff like that.
No?
I don't reminisce at all.
Why?
I don't know.
I like the life that I've led, and I like to look at it.
Yeah, that sounds really healthy and good.
But yeah, my favorite pieces, I have worn out. But then I found, some old, just almost journal type, just writing, and I read through it, and there weren't any insights in it. I was looking at it like, oh wow, clearly I have only half an idea of what's going on with me, but somehow that suddenly, kind of snapped it back into that I'm feeling good again, and it sticks. And I don't know why, and that's why I feel like I don't have control over it, and that's why I panic when it doesn't work, because I don't know how to do this, that I can get myself, like even when I tell myself, yeah, there's an ebb and flow, and sometimes you just have to feel those feelings. I'm just too panicked about it to like really let myself do that.
I think it's like riding a bike. You're like, oh no, I don't understand why I'm not falling over, and then you start to panic. So you just gotta not think about it too much. Maybe.
It's strange, but it's nice. I do hope that this is like a consistent thing, that I just am now learning to like really just stay here and trust myself that I can, that I can handle things. I don't need to worry about them before they happen, and that I can trust that I won't forever feel the way that I feel.
Yeah.
And that's always been my problem, that in the state that I'm in, I can never like really truly remember other states.
Yeah.
And that's especially, of course, problematic when there's a depressive phase or something, and then it feels like it's always been this way, it will always be this way.
Yeah.
And
that's really fucked up.
And yeah. Speaking of that writing, I feel like I'm kind of killing it with my new job.
What? New job? Wait, what's going on there? Give me a quick heads up. Just like to evolve with myself lately.
So the job that you got me, I got it immediately, more or less.
I didn't get you.
Well, you alerted me to...
pointed you in the direction. You got that.
well, all I did was, I can do it, and then and the thing is with it is that they're applying for funding. So I haven't talked to them about how comfortable they are about talking specifics. So I'm gonna keep it generic. But they're applying for funding, and that's basically right now we're just preparing the application, and then we'll see in 3 months if we have the money. But for that, it's a very interesting project. Like I said, I'm not sure if they're comfortable with me talking about the specifics, but it has a lot of overlap with also what I'm trying to do with the foundling. So there's like, and she was explaining to me what the idea is, and everything. I was like, okay, that sounds familiar, and that sounds familiar, and that's also something I'm doing, and that is the same setting, and that's that rule. And it was like, this was like made for me to get involved with. It's like exactly my sensibilities. It's exactly the thing that I know how to do, and and right now I was I'm kind of like script consulting, so they walked me through the idea they had that I wanted to develop, and I asked a bunch of questions just to figure out what exactly is still part of that is important to them, so that when I suggest fixes, it's still in line with what they're trying to do, because obviously you can fix holes in a story or make sense of things in a million ways, but to make sure that it's still expressing that core idea that they're after. And then I just did that, and I just pitched a fix that they loved, and I started writing more about other characters involved, and there's so much stuff coming together, and it's incredibly exciting. I'm excited about the project. I am.
That's nice, makes me happy.
And I'm also just so like, fuck yeah, I am so good at this. People don't even know how good I am at this. Everyone should hire me as a script consultant, because I'm incredibly good at this. I can write you an amazing story that is exactly what you wanted. Not something that I want, but although, I mean, that is what worked out here. That's exactly the kind of story that I would want to tell, with a lot of trauma and a lot of, politics and it's so that's cool. I'm very pleased, also because that's my I feel like that's my weakest area, the whole character development stuff. But I've been like just killing it in that department recently, and I am just psyched.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
I wish I could do some game design consulting. Well, someday, I guess.
Well, I mean, right now they're applying for basically script development, and then afterwards there's like prototype development and everything. And I think they're still looking like so. I think we, if the stage gets approved, we can also be more involved in the next stages.
Neat. Sometimes there's things come together and work out quite well.
Yeah, also really nice people, and I also really like that it's very like open. We already talked about our various psychological hang-ups and stuff, and it's a very comfortable.
Found your people.
Yeah, it's a very comfortable, very accepting. We're basically all in the same boat, kind of type of thing, and that's really.
Isn't that great? Huh?
That is really nice, and I get to be in the position of just saying all the time, "Don't worry, we can do this. Don't stress yourself too much," which is my favorite position to be in.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have to stress, but I can tell other people not to stress.
Yeah. I'm good at that as well. I can attest to. Yeah. I like it if stuff comes together like that. I mean,
it's really weird, just how much, maybe off camera, I'll tell you just how much that came together. It's like how is this so perfect?
Nice. I just had that yesterday when we installed the lock at the door. How perfect is it that she couldn't be fucked to repair that fucking lock, and I was able to repair it just in a matter of minutes with my flatmates helping. I guess I could have done it alone, but it went quicker with their help, and yeah, it was like the perfect thing to do at that evening. Sometimes things just work out.
But they kind of always do. And I think that's the trick in believing that.
Later.
Yeah.
Believe.
And literally nothing that has happened in my life, even the bad parts, are things that I really feel like were all that terrible. Like they led me here, and I'm very happy where I am.
I guess it could have been worse.
Yeah, it could have been worse, but even worse. I mean, it's a challenge that you can deal with. Yeah.
I mean, there's an interesting video essay I've seen lately about BoJack Horseman, and about one character who's like pretty much at the end of the whole show, she's a writer, and she finally like got out of her whole shit jobs she had before.
Mm-hmm.
She gets on antidepressants finally. She's got like a healthy relationship, and she's trying to write her autobiography.
Mm-hmm.
And she can't. She's completely writer's block, and she freaks out at one point, and she says to another character, I have to write this book, because if all my trauma doesn't end like in me being able to write a good book, what was it for? You know, because there's this idea that like your trauma can be used to create great books or just great art, but that's not always the case. And in the end, she writes something else. And of course, your trauma will always be a part of that in some way, but you don't have to make this like the center of the stuff. So while I can see your point there, I want to stress that having trauma isn't like, will not make you creative or just
oh, of course not.
You know, it's not like something it's not something you can excuse, or you have to find a way to make money out of. Trauma can just like be, you know, pulling you down and making things more difficult for you. On the other hand, there's the what I saw in Ted Lasso, was it a Dutch saying that every disadvantage in your life can be an advantage too. I guess there's something in there. It gives you another perspective, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Winston says, if you're persistent enough, it will work out in the end. If you give up, then it will go south. And I would actually disagree with that. I mean, I think that's true if you look at an isolated event, you know, that sure, if you follow through on a project, then the project will come to fruition. If you give up, then it won't. But in terms of like just the life we live, I think nothing is ever wrong, if that makes sense. Like everything we do, we do the only way we can do that. So it is always the right way, because it couldn't happen a wrong way. You know, like deaths. Everything that happens the only way it can happen. Therefore, it is always right. And sure, I mean, you know, 10 years ago, I thought by now I would be a famous director or something. That hasn't happened, but that doesn't mean that I'm unhappy with what has happened, because it's the only thing that could have happened, if that makes sense.
I guess I can agree in that everything that happens, and right or wrong is just like a definition we use to label stuff, and you can label it either or depending on the perspective you have on stuff. So I think it's a perspective thing, and I don't see any value in thinking like, oh God, everything went wrong. And I think we have like I think like our psychology is such that if something happens for us, we automatically reason that that was a good thing for us to keep us sane. And I think that's a really good thing. It's a really healthy way to approach that, because you can't change the past. So you can only look at the positive that came out of it, despite all the suffering that maybe is there too.
In the end, every experience is character development. There's a lot of dumb things that I did, a lot of mistakes that I made, a lot of people that I hurt along the way, and I'm not happy about that. But it was part of me learning to be the person I am today, and every dumb thing that I'm gonna do and every mistake I'm gonna do is gonna be how I'm gonna learn to be the person that I'm going to become. And so all of this is fine, When my first big relationship of 8 years ended, that was like, my life is over. I will never be happy again. And now it's like, I just love the experience, even if it's not in a, storybook kind of way of, I met my high school sweetheart and we were married for 80 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like even my life is richer for it. I would actually not want that any differently now. Like if I had stayed with my girlfriend back then, I would have missed out on so much of what life has to offer.
Yeah.
And so the bad stuff is also good. And that's part of why I'm so comfortable with all the uncomfortable stuff. Because I just not scared of the bad things anymore. I'm just like, all I need to do is make sure that my needs are met, and that I communicate those, and that I, work on, getting that I don't, that I don't accept like terrible treatment, and, like not accepting a roommate like you have just because, oh my God, what if I say something and they don't, this thing, we overcome all these, and it's good. Yeah, these challenges are good in the end.
Lessons learned. And even if you lose something, that's just the price you paid for that lesson.
Yeah. I mean, you just said it, that you feel like this challenge is really like helping you become more yourself, I guess.
So I have to, I stress that part as well to help myself from overcoming all the negative that comes with that.
Sure. No, I mean, it's not easy. It doesn't mean that it's always fun, but it's not bad, because development is always good.
I think that's a really rough philosophical debate that will lead to the Holocaust. And then you will have to argue why that was a good experience, and why, that's why I pull back there and say, like, everything that happens. And you have the bad, but you also have some good you can pull out of that, and we are wired to concentrate on the good for our own benefit. But it doesn't like excuse anything that happened.
No. This is not meant to be an excuse. Like, I'm not saying the Holocaust was great because it gave us great character development or anything. Yeah. I just feel like I don't want to comment on the Holocaust.
Yeah.
But we get into some muddy territory there, but I still feel like on a personal level,
I guess you can talk about yourself, and then we can like sidestep that whole issue, because that always comes up when we talk about this philosophy about everything that happens for a reason.
I guess that's a deeply nuanced point that has to be made there, because the systems that allow for all the terrible things that are happening in the world, they're there, and that we learn about them, and that they, that we I mean, I wish they weren't there, but I guess to get to the point where we can root out the horribleness that exists, we have to see it in some way. I don't know. This is too big too, but yeah.
Yeah, keep it small.
On a personal level, I feel like I and sure I worry about the coming climate wars and all that stuff, and how am I gonna be managing all that. When am I gonna end up in a camp and have to think about how this is also great for me?
Such great character work. Ouch! Leave me be. Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like there is this whole how we categorize things and good and bad and stuff. It's not real, really. That's just how we categorize things. But really, everything happens the only way it can happen, and therefore there's no judgment on that because it's the only way it can happen. I find comfort in that.
Yeah, I guess you can find comfort for yourself in that. You can't really proclaim it for every experience, but
no, I'm not saying therefore your experience were great for you. If you have been terribly abused, I'm not saying, isn't it great that you were abused? Wow, I'm so glad that you were abused. That's not the thing. Yeah. But I'm also not glad that I was abused. But the abuse certainly did create an empathy. It did create sort of a look on the world and a compassion and a passion for doing better, and it led me to meet a great many amazing people. It led me to a great many experiences, even if some of them really sucked, but in the end it's all good.
I see. It's just, especially like when I read like Wendel's statement that if you persist enough it'll work out in the end. If you give up, then it will go south. I immediately think about my 10-year relationship, and that went south, even though I persisted. And I guess I could have persisted some more, but I don't think it would have made it better. I think
sometimes it's out of your hand.
I think there are a lot of times where giving up is the right decision. And sure. I think I should have done that earlier, and I don't think I've learned a lot out of like 2 years more doing the same thing there,
Okay, yes. But you learned a lot of out of that relationship, and then you learned a lot out of the next one, and the next one is gonna be better. And so all of these steps were necessary because you couldn't have started with the perfect novel.
That's true. I couldn't have started like in a perfect relationship right away because I just wasn't there. And I'm not there yet either, but I'm way farther ahead than I was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think that much is true. But yeah, giving up, I think, is also like a really valid and valuable thing that you should keep open. It's the old internet trick. If you want some people to talk about something, just state the opposite and they will or react. Yeah, definitely. Also, like giving up contract work, for example, I think was really good. But of course, doing all that contract work also gave me a lot of experience. Not only how bad contract work is, but also like about narcissistic people, and
it was a step in your development that you needed to be the person that you are today.
Yeah,
because without that step, how would you get there? That's how we get boring as movies, because they skip all the logical steps of how we arrive at places.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, in the end, and I feel like I'm not often agreed with in that regard, but I'm just really excited about experience, no matter what it is. And I'm always like, but aren't you amazed at being able to do these things and experience these things? Isn't it kind of awesome?
I feel like we need to go jogging sometime again.
Oh, that was a wonderfully terrible experience that taught me to never do that again. So I'm very grateful for that. No, but that's really why I like to go where it hurts. Because that's new experience. It's interesting experience. You always learn something from it.
Oh, yeah.
And most of the time you discover that actually it's not as bad as you feared.
And you're stronger than you thought.
Yeah, you can handle shit.
That's what we've learned, I think, a lot. That we are, in fact, stronger than we thought we are.
So, Narcissus, to be real, I think it is always good to look at your decision and think how it will benefit you or your goals. And if you had nothing that is relevant, it might be time to quit. Oh, yeah, sure. I mean,
that sounds good.
I mean, this thing is more of an analysis thing than a prescriptive thing. Yeah. Of course, you still have to. I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, I'm fully on board with determinism. I'm a big believer in it. Yeah. Before I even knew what the. No, but it's true because things can't happen different. We are ruled by physical, biological, chemical laws.
We are at a point where we can say that with certainty. This is one of
reasonable certainty. Hypothesis?
Theories, I mean. Very shaky theories.
I don't think it's that shaky. I mean, gravity is not a very shaky theory.
Sure, it's not really different. Very different.
Is it though?
You can't compare it at all.
No. I think you can. I mean, look. A roll of a dice is not random, right?
It is.
It is absolutely not. It is 100% not random.
Yeah, agree to disagree then.
How is it random?
Because of quantum physics and...
The numbers don't suddenly change on the dice.
No, but...
the way you throw it, the surface it lands on, the air resistance, all that, it's too complex to feel determinable. And it is not determinable, but it is still determined by physical laws.
It is, but part of these factors have random elements.
Nope.
They have.
Nope. We may not understand them, but they all. It's not random. It's not random.
Well,
it is too complex for us to understand, but that doesn't mean it's random.
Doesn't mean that it's determined either.
It is absolutely
determined. Don't know. We just don't know.
It is absolutely. It's like code. Your code doesn't randomly do something else. It does exactly what it was programmed to do. And that's the only way it can function.
That's not true either, because stuff in your PC can go wrong, and then there's something else.
Well, that has nothing to do with the code. That has to do with your PC.
Whether the code
and even why your PC
run on something,
and even because bugs. Why your PC is being weird is also not random. It is because of something. Everything is deterministic, but
in my opinion.
It is 100% everything's deterministic, but that doesn't mean that we can. You still have to think about stuff, and you still have to put in an effort. You know, you can't say just because everything's predetermined in a way, therefore I stop doing things and I still get what I want, because you still have to put in the effort. So it doesn't really matter that it's predetermined. You still have to actually take the actions to arrive at the point that you want.
If you lie down and do nothing, then it's predetermined that you're gonna lie and do nothing and die. So
exactly,
it doesn't help you in any way. You still have to do the things for sure. On that part, we can agree.
Well, we're close to our time. Is there anything else we need to talk about?
Check out the Epic Store, because today we've got another good one, I think.
What's
it's the Lion's story? Song, yeah. The Lion's Song, yeah, that's it. Some cool adventure puzzle game, I think. I haven't played it, but the pixel art looks amazing.
I have played the first 2 episodes out of 4, I think.
Yeah.
And it is very pretty. They're short. and digestible, and it's
cool topics,
just
right?
neat.
It's Austria.
Yeah,
It's different historical or like historical setting, and you play figures there and experience what they would experience there. I think, if I'm not wrong, that sounds pretty cool.
I see Red King's Lair is already live and still commenting.
Nice.
That's commitment.
Appreciate it.
What are you playing today? Okay, meanwhile, let me fire up the thingy.
Thief 2 again.
Ah, Thief 2. All right. Yeah, because you guys are working on a Thief-inspired project and are doing research for it, if I understood that correctly. And so playing all of them stealth games. And also recently Resident Evil.
Yeah, I missed it.
Which looked interesting, but there were way more werewolves than I expected. and that's such a weird thing. So you were playing in German, right? And I just find the German dubbing so bad. Like not that it's badly done or anything, just German acting is just through the board so unbearably unnatural. And I don't know how we got to this point that every German performance is so... They don't talk like we talk right now. You know? They don't talk like we talk to each other. It's always this kind of weird diction and this weird kind of phrasing, and they say every word perfectly and use perfect grammar like nobody actually does. And
yeah, I mean, German acting is bad.
It's so
bad.
But
German dubbing is even worse. I don't know how to...
Oh, it really says it fits the game, though. Well, I don't know. I was watching and I was cringing and was kind of pulled out by how bad it is. There's a... And the thing is, I can even imagine how much better it sounds in English. I don't know. And I was thinking maybe it's a translation, right? Because it's in English and German, if you speak natural German, it doesn't fit natural English in terms of just how long the sentences are or something. Then maybe that is the problem. So you have to say, oh ja, ich wurde damals... Don't talk like that. Anyway, wait, is it... this is open. So maybe for a quick look. That's not it. Give me a second. There we go. Epic. The Lion Song.
It's also really cheap in any case. €8. I really like that. I don't know why, but pixel graphics I enjoy so much more than anything else.
Yeah, and it has this nice color palette. This kind of beige and reddish.
Sepia style, right? So yeah, you get like all 4 episodes.
Yeah, I think I got it when the second one came out, so I don't know the last 2 yet. Yeah, it also has a nice soundtrack as far as I remember. It's been some years since I played this, but oh yeah, the Mathematician I don't know yet. Closure. Well, I like me some trains.
I like me some closure.
Alright, get me this. Alright. Cool.
Cool.
Then thank you guys so much for joining us.
Yes.
As always, we will probably lurk in Red King's stream for a bit. Let me do the raid thingy. You know, maybe that's a command I can give. Not rattling. Rattling.
Rattling is also. Rattling's layer. Yeah, if you wanna.
Rattling's care. That's a command I should give Sven, so I don't have to type it out for our various streamer friends.
Yeah.
Venesil, you're also gonna stream soonish, right? You start at 8, if I remember correctly. Yes, 8. Ah, yes. Well then, enjoy your streams. Among Us today. Nice.
Yeah.
Yes. So, thanks for joining us. It was a fun time, even though I didn't feel like doing it today.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Join the Discord. And it's nice to give that spiel to the people who already do all of that.
Just like the flow. You know.
Oh, wow. Yes, of course that would work.
Nice.
Why would I limit that? Very nice, thank you. And we will see you either lurkishly or next week. So have a good time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Wait, I have to press that button and then I have to stop it.
Okay.
So bye.
Bye.